Okay, so nakikita nyo ba yung screen?
Opo.
Okay. So pwede nyo naman yan i-zoom in. Yan, pero tataray ko na rin i-zoom in. Okay, good morning everyone. So for today, before we proceed to Darlo and Kilapio group, since wala pa naman sila, wala pa atang magre-report. So we're going to discuss na yung chapter 7, which is controlling. So I think this is the last managerial function for the organization and management. Yan. So for the chapter 7, controlling, so it says here, a process through which managers regulate organizational activities to make them consistent with the expectation and help them achieve predetermined standards of performance. So when we say controlling, since this is the last phase or the last managerial function, yan, so after ng leading, ito na yung part na after i-implement yung mga plans, after makapag-hire, ma-fulfill yung mga vacancies, and then na-start na yung mga activities ng isang organization. Syempre, hindi naman nagtatapos yun sa implementation lang. Dapat from time to time or every quarter or at least annually, nag-check dapat si manager or the top management kung ano na ba yung status ng organization. Okay? So again, a process through which managers regulate organizational activities to make them consistent with expectation and help them achieve predetermined standards of performance. So here, we have the control system, barriers to successful control, process of control, and types of control. So first, let's go to the process of control. Okay. So first, yung process of control, we have four. First one is setting standards for performance, and then measuring actual performance, comparing actual performance with standards, and responding to deviations. Okay. So, di ba una nagplano tayo, yung organization, nagplano siya kung ano, depende sa goals and objectives ng organization. So, nag-set tayo ng standard, ng job descriptions, ng mga qualifications ng mga ano natin, ng mga empleyado natin. So, yon. Yan. So, here in setting standards for performance, whenever possible, the standards should be be set in a manner that allows them to be compared with actual performance. Okay, sa unang pagpaplano, syempre nag-experiment pa lang naman yung organization, wala pa namang mga historical datas. So yun, mga estimations pa lang to, no? Estimations pa lang to, depende sa kung ano yung nasa objective natin. Okay? So pag gumawa sila ng standard sa unang-una, mga ano pa lang yun, mga estimate pa lang yun, or parang, kumbaga, ayun yung unang standard. Ayun. So next, syempre after nilang ma-hire yung mga empleyado, ayan, or siguro after nilang makapag-purchase ng mga equipments. So for the first operating cycle, or siguro every quarter to, pag mga maliliit na business, better na monthly. Yan. Pag malalaki naman, minsan quarter or annual. Annual sila nagbe-measure ng performance. So, depende pa rin sa organization. Pero at least, dapat annual, meron kayong measurement or measuring ng actual performance. Kasi, lagi tayong every annual or every year, dapat meron tayong mga sinasabit na budget. Okay, so part ng pag-measure ng performance, ang pagbabudget. Okay? So yun. Here in measuring actual performance, an organization must decide what to measure, when to measure, how frequently to measure. So dapat yung mga yung sinat nating standards, tapos yung mga yung paggagawa natin ng data or criteria sa sa performance, dapat measurable. So, dapat may mga numbers yun. Okay, paano nga ba nagkakaroon ng numbers? Dito papasok yung mga quota ng per empleyado. Tapos, Sa iba naman, yung mga hindi naman nagkakaroon ng quota or hindi naman sila nagsiset ng quota, mini-measure nila yung mga errors ng bawat tao or errors na na-encounter ng bawat team. Yan, para ma-measure nila. Okay? So, yun, kunyari, lagi nakaka-encounter ng error yung isang team or isang tao, dito papasok yung yung pag-set ulit nila ng panibagong standard. Lalo na pag laging bagsak, okay? So, yun. Minsan binababa nila yung standard. Kunyari masyadong mataas yung quota na sinet nila from the start. So, yun. Pag hindi lagi siyang nami-meet ng mga tao ng isang team, siguro sa buong year hindi nila na-meet yun. Maaring yung standard na yun babaan nila. Ayun. Okay. Kasi, di ba sa una, nag-experiment pa lang naman sila eh. So, again, ayun, dito papasok yung comparing actual performance with the standards. Okay, so after we have set our standards and then syempre na-measure na natin yung actual performance. So depende rin pa rin yan sa department or organization. Pero more likely, kung nakabase yun sa mga quota, errors, yung mga reports na na-submit on time, ayan, normally ano yan timeliness, yung accuracy, ganun, or yung efficiency ng isang team at effective. So, dito, pag nag-work na din kayo, isa rin sa mini-measure yung pag-OT. So, again, hindi laging maganda na nag-OT. Kasi, meaning kaya ka nag-OT, hindi, kumbaga, hindi efficient or hindi ka effective. Kaya ka nag-OT. Kasi hindi mo kayang tapusin on time yung hindi mo kayang tapusin on time yung mga work mo, hindi mo kayang ma-meet yung quota mo on time. Yung binigay sa yung 8 hours per day, hindi mo kayang i-maximize yun, kaya ka nag-OT. So, ganun yun. So, hindi all the time na pag nag-OT ka, magaling ka na. Ganun. At hindi rin gusto yun ng company. Kasi, meaning pag nag-OT ka, another cost for the company, another expense for the company. Kasi babayaran nila yun 30%. Okay? So, mas better pa din yung umuwi on time. Mas better pa din yung umuwi ng maaga. Kasi meaning nun, na-maximize nila yung binigay na 8 hours or 9 hours ng company. Okay? So, ayan. This step involves determining if actual performance compared to standard falls within acceptable limits. Okay, so paano pag yung isang team or yung mga empleyado laging nag-OT? Meaning nun, kailangan nila ng panibago pang empleyado. Ayan, lagi sila nag-OT, buong team lagi nag-OT. Ayan. So dapat dito papasok yung deliberations ng mga managers, ng mga supervisors. Bakit nag-OT itong buong team? Ano kaya? Sobrang dami ba ng volume? Sobrang hirap ba ng mga reports? Sobrang hirap bang ma-meet ng quota per day? Ayan. Ba't ang daming errors? Ganon. So, maaaring mag-hire sila ng panibagong empleyado or ibaba nila yung standards nila. Ayun. Okay. So, the last process is responding to deviation. So, yun. Ayun, after nilang ma-compare yung standard na sinet nila versus the actual performance. Ayun, pag sobrang laki ng difference, okay, so saka sila magkakaroon ng mga meeting again, deliberations, mga panibagong plano. Ayan. So, if the deviation from the performance is unacceptable, then corrective actions is warranted. If the deviation is acceptable, no correction action is necessary. Okay, so pag hindi naman ganun kalaki yung difference or yung tinatawag natin yung materiality ng difference ng actual performance versus standard. So, kung hindi naman sobrang material yung difference, then wala namang corrective action na kailangan. Okay, so pag sobrang laki naman ng difference, ayun, magkakaroon tayo ng corrective action. So either papadaliin nila yung work, yan, babaguhin ulit nila yung standard, or baka kailangan ng panibagong training para sa empleyado or mga employees. Or pinaka-worst is baka i-terminate nila yung employee tapos palitan nila ng bago, which is na mayroong mas mataas na qualifications. Okay, nagigets ba? Okay, so the next naman yung types of control. So ano ba yung mga types of control? And control methods and control system. Okay, so we have the pre-action control, and then steering control, and the post-action control. Okay, so meron tayong mga control na kumbaga bago pa mangyari ay sineset na natin. Okay, so maaaring ito yung mga policies and procedures na binibigay agad natin sa empleyado. So para bago pa mangyari yung mga errors, yung mga hindi natin naninit na quota, at least na gawan agad natin siya ng paraan. Okay? So yung steering control, ito yung mga, while habang ginagawa ng mga empleyado, meron na tayong mga control. For example, siguro ito yung mga pag-check kung may nag-check daily. Kunyari, di ba minsan nakikita nyo biglang-biglang bumibisita yung mga supervisors, mga managers sa isang department. Ayun, kung tine-check nila kung nag-work ba on time or nag-work ba yung nila, yung mga empleyado nila. So ito yung mga bigla-bigla ang inspection while working. Okay, so yun, syempre, ang mindset natin, in-expect natin na baka mamaya biglang bisitahin tayo ng mga supervisors, managers, so dapat talaga full-time nag-work tayo. Hindi tayo gumagawa ng ibang bagay. Okay, and then the post-action control, so syempre nagkaroon na tayo ng mga results, yan, hindi na na-meet yung quota, lagi nang nalilate yung empleyado, laging late, hindi pumapasok. So nagkakaroon tayo ng mga post-action control. Hindi to papasok yung magkakaroon ng one-on-one conversation yung empleyado with the manager. Bakit ka laging late? Bakit hindi mo nasasubmit palagi yung mga reports mo? May problem ka ba sa bahay? Ganyan. So maaring pa din yun, one-on-one conversation. Or else, meron kasi mga organizations and companies na nagsiset na sila ng ng mga corrective actions nila. If in case na kunyari first week hindi mo na meet yung quota, so may mga warnings, ganun. So kumbaga ito yung mga tinatawag na mga punishment. Ayan. And so pre-action, steering control, and post-action control. Okay, dito naman tayo sa control system. It is about input level, the transformation process, and the output level. Okay? So so meron tayong input, process, and output. Okay, so ano ba yung mga input natin? Ito yung mga materials, mga machines, method. Ayan. So meron 4 M's. Yan. So may mga machines, manpower, methods, ganun. And then for the transformation process, syempre meron kayong mga mga manuals, ganyan. Diyan nakatala yung process ng work nyo. Okay? From the beginning to end. Hindi pwedeng wala kayong documentation nun. Yan. Dapat ng isang organization, meron silang documentation ng process nila. So whenever na merong nag-resign, ayan, tapos may papasok ulit na mga new hires, pwede na lang i-present yung documentation na yun para hindi na ganun ka trabaho yung pagte-train sa mga new hires. Okay? So for the output level, ito naman, dito papasok yung mga criteria. For example, yung ina-expect ni client na timeliness, Yan, dapat kunyari every 9 p.m. nasasubmit on time yung mga reports na kailangan nila. Dapat yung financial statements well presented, okay? Tapos, ano pa ba? Dapat walang errors. Lahat ba ng expenses na ilagay ba doon sa system, okay? Ayun. So may mga ano yan, may mga numbers na kailangan. So for example, for timeliness, dapat 9 p.m. makapag-submit ka. For Dakota, kailangan 500 yung magawa mong medyas for the day, ganon. Ayun. So yun, dapat may sineset na standard yung isang company. Okay, so here are the characteristic of an effective control system. So it must be accurate. Ayan. So dapat yung control system na ginawa nyo, accurate dun sa mga performance ng empleyado or accurate doon sa objectives din ng organization. So yung objective and comprehensive. Ayan. And then focused on strategic control points, flexibility. Yan, pwede siyang itaas or ibaba or i-spread, ganon. Yan, timely. Yan, dapat yung ano nyo, yung control system nyo, dapat updated. Ganyan. Para maging accurate din siya. Understandable and justifiable. Ayan. Siyempre, dapat makatao din yung control system nyo. Malay nyo, biglang binigyan nyo ng kailangan 1,000 na medyas sumagawa sa isang araw. Which is, ang normally, 500 lang naman ng magagawa ng mga empleyado. So, dapat rin siya. Madjustify nyo. Consistent with the organization's structure. Ayan, consistent meaning dapat yung mga sila natin standard na pang subordinate lang. Mamaya binigyan nyo sila ng managerial na standards. So, mahihirapan sila doon. Okay, acceptable by the organizational members. So, dapat, okay, di ba, kaya minsan bago kayo ma-hire, meron tayong mga pinipirmahan, may mga contracts, ganyan. Doon nakapaloob na yung mga expectations sa'yo, job descriptions mo. So, once na pinirmahan na yun ni applicant, meaning, ina-accept na yung challenge, ina-accept na yung control ng organization, naiintindihan niya yung policies, yung mga process. Okay? So bago kayo pumirma, dapat binabasa nyo muna kasi mamaya hindi pala makatao yung binibigay nilang quota sa'yo. So mahihirapan ka. Ikaw din ang may maliit at the end kasi hindi mo binasa eh. Ganun. So dapat hindi ka magrereklamo. Lalo na kung naka-indicate naman dun sa binigay sa yung contract. Utilize all steps of the control process and corrective action. So, dapat hindi lang tayo gumagawa ng control. Dapat may mga corrective actions din tayo. So, what are the barriers to successful control? Game playing. Ayan. Operating delays. Negative attitude. Ayan. Over control and under control. So, medyo gets naman natin. Yung over control, yung masyadong mahigpit. Ayan. And under control naman, masyadong pinapabayaan ni manager. Negative attitude, papasok din dito yung laging late, hindi pumapasok, nagpapanggap na may sakit, ganyan. Tinatamad, ganyan. Yan, sa mga operating delays naman, hindi naman all the time kontrolado ng manpower ang sitwasyon. Kasi malay mo, hindi talaga gumagana yung equipment. Hindi gumagana yung mga machines na ginagamit. Okay. So may questions ba tayo for the chapter 7? I-share or i-clarify. So maikli lang naman yung chapter 7 natin. Pero meron pa tayong last na chapter. So, ready na ba yung group ni De La Torre tsaka ni Kilapio? Kasi wala kayong grade if hindi makapag-report.
Hello, good afternoon. Am I clear? Okay, so I think clear naman. So let's wait for your other classmates kasi tatlo lang yun nandito. Si John Forves, si Micaela Escura, and Samantha Daniel C, and then si Shamil Ann Salvacion. Okay, so for further explanation about Chapter 7, Controlling, let's wait for the other students. And let's resume by 1:20 p.m. Okay, so I think we can now start. So yon, further explanation lang uh, from the first topic, yung controlling din. So, let's start. So, yung next chapter natin is the controlling. Actually, this is the last phase for the managerial function. So, di ba yung una, forecasting and planning, and then And forecasting and planning, yung pangalawa, organizing. And then, ano ba yung pangatlo? Yung pangatlo is staffing, I think. Staffing, and then leading up to the controlling. Okay, so let's check yung mga managerial function. Yan. So first, yung planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and then lastly, yung controlling. Okay? So yun, syempre, hindi dapat, hindi lahat ng steps nagtatapos lang sa na-implement mo yung mga processes, no? Ngayari, after mo mag-hire, after mo mag-lead, tapos nagawa nyo na lahat ng mga tasks. Ayan, nagkaroon na ng leading. Ayan, na-assign nyo na, na-designate nyo na yung mga tasks, no? So, dapat hindi lang magtatapos doon. So, we should have controlling. Meaning, in this phase, meron tayong dalawang process, which is the measurement of the performance and then yung mga controls. Okay, so but before that, we have the following objectives. So at the end of this chapter, we are all expected to understand the following. First, the definition of controlling, the nature of controlling, the control process, characteristic of control, types of control methods and systems, accounting concepts and techniques as control devices. Okay, so ito example lang naman to yung mga accounting concepts and techniques as control devices. Okay, so yun, meron din tayong performance standard in this chapter. So the learners or all of you should be able to apply appropriate control measures for a specific business situation. Okay, so kung may business kayo, so what are the following controls and measurements that you can recommend? So kahit sari-sari store lang yan. For example, sa mga maliliit na businesses na nakawan kayo or kulang lagi yung inventory, hindi nag-i-swak yung sales nyo dun sa ina-expect nyo. So what are the controls and measurement? Okay, so what is controlling? So here, it says that this is the process of measuring and correcting activities of an organization. So for example, correcting activities such as the plans or the organization itself and the people there, okay, the employees. Okay, next is controlling determines what is being tackled by evaluating the performance and if there is a deviation. So, and by applying corrective measures so that the activities take place according to plans. Okay, so yun, isa sa mga pinaka-importanteng process is the evaluation of the performance. Okay, this can be done through setting criterias or yung tinatawag na KPI, for example, yung mga accuracy, even the attendance, punctuality, yung efficiency. Ayan, so depende, no? Yung iba naman, yung ibang businesses, especially sa mga food chains, isa sa mga measurement nila is yung feedback ng mga customer dun sa service or dun sa performance ng mga employees nyo. Okay, so there, pag na-measure na, kunyari nakita na kung anong KPI nyo, then kung merong deviation na tinatawag or difference between the standard and dun sa actual performance ng employee, then there can be a corrective actions or measurements if hindi na-meet yung standard, and this can be rewarded naman, or those people can be rewarded naman if na-meet or nalagpasan pa yung measurement or yung standard na sinet ng organization. okay, can be considered as the activity for knowing and correcting important changes in the activities that are planned. Okay, so for example, yun na, stable na yung business, stable na yung process. Ayan, so there can be another goal naman or another objective for the businesses. For example, dadagdagan ng process, ayan, and ngari magkakaroon ng expansion kasi stable na eh. So, pag naging stable na yung mga processes, pwede nang mag-expand, pwede nang magkaroon pa ng another goal. Okay? So, there, mag-i-start na naman ulit sa forecasting, planning, and then organizing, staffing, mag-hire ulit ng mga tao, and then magkakaroon na naman ng mga panibagong leaders, and then magkakaroon ulit ng control, no, kung ano yung naging impact ng expansion na yun or pagdadagdag ng process to the business. Kung dadagdagan ba yung, tumaas ba yung sales, ayan, or mas lumaki lang yung expenses. Okay, so yan, after planning and organizing, so there will be a controlling na. So here, it is also the process that measures current performance and guides it toward the accomplishment of some objectives. So the essence of control lies in checking existing actions against some desired results or yung tinatawag na standard performance or standard criteria which have been determined in the planning process. Okay, di ba during the process, the planning process, na-determine natin kung ano yung mga tasks na kailangan at kung ano yung mga output no na ine-expect natin doon sa performance na yon. Okay? Or doon sa planning process na yon. So there, nagkakaroon ka na ng standard. And then during this controlling, yung check natin kung nami-meet ba yung standard na yon. Next is the nature of controlling. Yan. Where other fundamental functions of management are performed perfectly, controlling is still inevitable. Yan. For it is used to further effect some improvements. Okay, so yun, hindi porke perfect na or stable na yung performance, hindi na kailangan ng controlling. Okay, so we still need to check the effect of this process sa ibang department naman. And then this should be consistent, no? Lagi tayong nag-check. Every now and then nag-check. Yung ibang company, everyday silang nagkakaroon ng audits like that. So they need to maintain stability kasi iba pag hindi na chine-check yung performance ng ibang employees bumababa kasi nga di na sila chine-check ganun. So that is why controlling should be consistent. Kahit stable pa yan. Okay? Controlling means big savings of money in operation. Parang to think no na aside from nagpe-perform ka na ng task mo, bakit kailangan pang mag-check, no? Kasi parang iisipin natin, dagdag costo. Kasi nga, may another process. So, meron kasing mga checker like yung ginagawa ng mga managers. No? Wherein, pwede namang wala naman nag-check. No? Pero, malaki kasi yung, yung benefit nito sa company. It's because we can avoid defects which can be an expense to the company. We can also avoid errors, no? Kapag yung mga performance ng mga services, we can avoid errors kasi baka mawala naman tayo ng customer kapag lagi tayong mali. Okay, so kailangan natin ng checker, yung tinatawag QA or auditors. So, din naman siya, big savings din naman siya in the long run kasi na-maintain natin yung magandang performance ng mga employees and then the organization. Okay, planning is related to controlling. Okay, kasi kaya siya related, it's because yung standard na kailangan natin, galing kasi sa planning. And then, kumbaga may standard na tayo, may mga standard numbers na tayo na kailangan. Then, during the controlling, doon natin i-compare no, yung actual performance versus the standard. Okay? So the failure of planning would mean failure in controlling, and the success of planning means success of controlling. So for example, bakit nagbe-fail? For example, mali yung na-set na standard natin during planning process. Okay, so kunyari nag-set na tayo ng numbers. No, kunyari ilan yung medyas na kailangan natin, magkano ba yung sales na kailangan natin for this quarter, and then mali yung na-set nating numbers during the planning process. So mali din yung maiko-compare nating number during the controlling. Okay, so baka nagtataka tayo bakit lagi tayo nagkakaroon ng loss. Anong nangyari? Okay, so there, kapag consistent na nagkakaroon ng deviation or differences or bakit nagpe-fail, so we need to review again the planning process. Baka naman sa planning na yung problem. Okay? Next is controlling alerts the manager to potentially critical problems. So for example, top management when goals are not met. Ayan. And then for the middle and lower management, the department's goals are not met. Ayun. So ayun, during the controlling, no, this is where we'll see kung ano ba yung mga problems na may encounter ng businesses. Okay, so for example, hindi na-meet yung sales, target sales. So anong nangyari, anong dapat gawin? Okay, next is managers can use the following. Okay, so first is to prevent crisis. Okay, naririnig niyo naman ba ako? Medyo maingay eh. Dinig naman. Okay. Medyo mahina naman yung yung nag-grinder. Okay. So, ayan. So, yun, managers can use the following. Yeah, first is to prevent crisis. Siyempre, kapag may controlling na tayo, everyday check natin kung nami-meet yung standard and then yung criterias natin. Then, napiprevent natin yung bigger crisis. For example, that day pa lang nakita mo na hindi nami-meet yung quota. Kung hindi natin nakita yun, tas everyday hindi nami-meet yung quota, that can affect the sales. Kumbaga malaki na yung magiging effect niya. Okay? Standardized output. Yan, aside from the quantity, we can also check kung nami-meet ba yung standard nating quality. Okay? So for example, every week lang tayo nag-check, which is dapat pala everyday chine-check natin yung output ng machine. For example, gumagawa tayo ng mga laptops. Ayan, tapos hindi natin na-check. Tapos everyday ang dami na palang napoproduce, wherein meron palang defects yung napoproduce ng machine, tapos hindi natin na-check. That can be a loss. So sayang, no? Yung mga gamit. Or for example, kahit sa mga damit, no? Hindi everyday pala dapat chine-check natin. Tapos weekly lang pala tayo nag-check. Tapos at the end of that week, na-realize natin or na-check natin na may defect pala yung napoproduce ng machine. Tapos hindi natin na-control or hindi natin naitama on the first day pa lang. Sayang yung mga damit na mapoproduce ng machine. Okay, baka hindi natin mabenta or mabenta natin but in the lower price. Appraise employees' performance. Ayan, syempre, no, pag nakuha na natin yung quantity and then yung quality or other criteria, for example, yung attendance, yung efficiency, nag-OT ba, then we can appraise the employee's performance. Like kung good na ba siya for promotion or other departments, another position. Yan. Or that employees need another trainings, no? Kunyari hindi na-meet yung standard. So baka kailangan niya ng another training pa, another seminar. Okay, or another one-on-one conversation with the manager. Or this can lead also to termination, no? Lalo na pag hindi talaga na-meet yung quota and then malaki yung bagsak sa sales no, nung naging performance na. Okay, and then update plans, no? Kung consistent na hindi na-meet yung quota, baka naman sobrang taas naman ang standard natin. So we need to review again the plans, the planning process. Baka sobrang taas ng standard natin. Kaya walang nakakamit nung quota, walang nakakamit nung numbers na sineset natin. So we need to update the plans. And also, kung perfect naman yung perfect naman yung lumalabas sa control, stable na yung mga processes, then that can lead to update the plans, like for example, expansion, another goal, another plans. Okay, next is to protect an organization's asset. Okay, parang din naman to. Protect an organization's process. Organization's asset. Okay, so yan, just like checking the machines and checking the equipments. So we need to do that, or we need to check that pwedeng everyday. Okay. So next, the control process. So controlling involves the following. Okay, so first, establishing standards. Ito naman, nagagawa naman to during the planning process. Ayan. Planning process. And then, kapag na-perform na, pwede na tayong mag-adjust pa ng standards. Okay, so establishing standards. Standards are desired levels of performance and constitute the foundation of the process. So these serve as the criteria against the performance evaluated. Okay, so during the planning process, nagkaroon tayo ng standard, but then again, we can adjust the standard, especially during actual performance na. And then we have realized or checked na sobra or sobrang baba, sobrang taas or sobrang baba ng standard natin. Okay, pwede naman natin i-adjust yun. Okay, next is measuring performance against the established standard. Yan. This is where we compare the actual performance versus the standard performance. So again, yung standard performance, ito yung dapat i-meet ng mga employees. And then yung actual performance, ito na yung actual. Ito na yung ginagawa na ng mga employees. Okay? So should be both quantity and quality. Okay? So depende yan sa company, no? Kung ano yung mga criteria na kailangan nila. So pag sa mga accountants, usually ang mga criteria na kailangan lang na ma-meet ng mga employees or ng mga accountants is the first is the accuracy. More likely parang connected siya with the quality. It means na dapat walang error. Ayan, so first is the accuracy, or the next naman is the timeliness. For example, meron kaming deadline na dapat mga reports na dapat namin i-submit to the clients. So timeliness, meaning dapat nasasubmit namin on time yung mga reports na kailangan. And then, ayun, actually parang dalawa lang naman. So hindi naman masyadong applicable sa amin yung attendance. Basta sa amin naman, once na nasubmit namin on time yung reports, then that can be okay na. No? For example, kahit pumasok kami ng late, but kahit ano pa yan, kahit below 8 hours pa yung ano namin, yung work time namin. Pero sasubmit naman on time yung mga reports and accurate naman. And then that's it. That's okay. Okay? But for other companies, syempre may iba't iba rin naman silang criteria. Okay? So for example, yun nga, lalo na pag mga manufacturing, yan, yung mga criteria nila is about the quality of the product or the output, what is produced compared to what should be produced. Then parallel to effectiveness. Okay. Next naman is the quantity, finding out the amount or number of output parallel to efficiency. Okay. So again, pag quality effectiveness, kumbaga parang lalo na pag functional yung output, ayan, nagana ba no? Nagana ba yung mga computers, nagana ba yung mga laptops na ginawa mo? Kasi pwede mong namimit yung quantity, namimit mo yung efficiency. Ayan, efficient ka, no? Pero hindi ka effective. Meaning, hindi pala nagpa-function yung ginawa mong product. Or you can be effective also, but you're not efficient. For example, yan nga, lahat ng ginawa mong computers ay nagana, no? Pero hindi mo na-meet yung number or yung quota mo. Okay? So dapat hindi ka lang effective but also efficient ka din. Okay? Next naman is time. Formulating the timeable for achieving certain goals at certain dates. So usually this can be talked about the attendance then, and then if nami-meet nyo ba on time yung quota nyo. Okay? So dapat you should be effective and efficient on this timeline, parang ganun. Next is cost. Went over the budget or not? Ayan. Isa sa mga mini-measure is yung cost. Na-meet ba natin yung expenses na kailangan natin? Lumagpas ba tayo doon or hindi naman? No? Okay. Third one is comparison of actual performance. Ayan. So the core of the controlling process is checking the actual meets the predetermined or planned performance. Ayan na, comparing na ng actual performance versus the standard performance. And last is taking corrective action when and where deviation from standard occur. So corrections and fine tuning may be necessary. So pwedeng reward, pwede rin namang penalty. Ayan. So kailangan mo ba ng another training or pwede ka na for promotion? Yan. And as well as for the corrective action, this can be reviewing the planning process and or the other process or adjusting the standard. Okay, next is the characteristics of control. So the function of control is to keep work moving on schedule as planned towards the established objectives and goals. Control should meet the certain characteristic. First is to attune to the activity. Control should reflect needs of people using them. Ayan, dapat no yung control na maipoprovide natin is based no or accurate dun sa kailangan ng mga managers. Yung report ba, kumbaga yung report na binibigay mo about the control, it should reflect or should be accurate with the information that is needed by the manager. Okay, deviation must be identified quickly. What is used to checking the process of or parts after they break down. So dapat meron na kayong process noon how to check no the differences between the performance, standard performance and then versus the actual performance. Paano ba natin siya kino-compute? Must be forward-looking, avoid historical, use of forecast and other forward-looking devices. Okay, must be strategically oriented. Select the crucial points and which control is applied. Okay, should be flexible, permits unexpected changes or situations. Yan, dapat yun nga, pwedeng i-adjust yung standard na like yung mga criteria natin can be changed. Yan, yung mga other processes natin can be changed depending on the situation. Should be economical. Cost of controlling should not exceed the benefits of it. So dapat kung meron tayong mga controlling process like yung mga auditors natin, checkers, QI, ganyan, dapat yung cost natin doon sa paggamit ng mga yun, hindi dapat mag-exceed doon sa benefits na ina-expect natin. So, syempre, di ba, magiging useless din naman yung pagko-control natin kung nako-compromise sa mga expenses natin. Okay? So, dapat, tamang lang din, control. Okay? So, meron ding mga expenses yan and benefits. Cost and benefits. Should easy to be understood. Yan, people should understand its purpose. Okay? So, dapat lahat nakakaintindi. Hindi lang pwedeng manager lang yung nakakaintindi nung process na yon. Kasi, paano nila perform ng maayos yung pagko-control or yung certain processes nila kung hindi naman nila alam or di nila naiintindihan kung ano ba yung purpose ng control na yun. Okay, at kung para saan ba siya, kung ano ba yung magiging benefit through using those control. Okay, next, types of control. So there are many different types of control to be used for different purposes. First, control used to standardize performance helps to increase efficiency and decrease costs. Control used to safeguard company assets. Company assets must be protected from theft, vandalism, wastage, and misuse. Yan. Control used to standardize quality for a specific quality level of the product. Okay. Controls designed to set limits within which delegated authority can be exercised without further top management approval. So like manuals and procedures. 5, control used to measure job performance, special reports, output data. Control used for planning and programming instructions like sales and production cost. Control necessary to allow top management to keep firms' various plans and program in balance. Like, for example, yung mga budgetings natin. So we have the following control methods and systems. So there are 2 kinds of control methods. For example, in behavior control or personal control. So this is based on the direct and personal surveillance. Next is the output control naman. Okay, so based on the measurement of output, tracking production records and sales as example of control output. Kumbaga yung parang pinaka-endpoint naman. Okay, yung behavior, this can be measured through attendance. Yan, and how you, yung attitude mo towards your co-employees. Yan, or as a manager, yung attitude mo towards your subordinates. While yung iba naman yung output, meaning kung ano na lang yung mga natapos mo, no? Yun yung mag-reflect sa'yo. Okay? Flexible budgets are designed to vary with the volume of sales or some other measure of output. Okay, zero-based budgeting to justify an entire budget request in detail from scratch. Okay, so for example, wala kayong historical data, ganyan, parang puro hula, ganun. Pero syempre dapat may basis pa din naman siya. Okay, yun nga lang, di sila gumagamit ng mga historical data to do the budgeting. Yeah. Direct observation, daily tour of the facility, annual visit to all branches, yung mga biglaang audit or bisita ng mga managers to every department just to check kung nag-work kayo or napasok ba kayo on time Yan, mga biglaang visit. Written reports can be prepared on a periodic or as necessary basis. So, analytical, interpret the facts, informational, present the facts. Audit may be conducted by internal or external personnel. Okay, so internal, ito yung mga inside accountant natin, no? Yung mga inside na auditors natin. Ayan. Pero kung kailangan nating mag-provide ng financial statement for the shareholders, mas pine-prefer nila yung mga external. So ito yung mga auditors outside, like yung mga SGB, KPMG, mga big four na companies. External yun. Time-related charts and techniques. For example, using of Gantt charts. Familiar naman tayo sa Gantt chart, no? Yung Gantt chart, ito yung parang timeline eh. Timeline ng mga plano natin, ng mga plans natin. PERT and CPM. So last is the management by objectives or yung MBO na tinatawag. So what once implements could also be used in controlling. Okay. Next, accounting concept and techniques as control devices. So we have, actually di natin ito masyado maintindihan, no? Especially, ayun, wala pa kasing business finance, pero madidiscuss pa to on your grade 12. Pero for, lang to, ABM eh. So, test of liquidity, meaning kung gaano ba kabilis na-convert yung asset natin into cash. Yan, yung liquidity na tinatawag, no? So, isa rin to sa chine-check ng mga shareholders. Kasi if in case na magkaroon ng bankruptcy or malugi yung company, gaano kabilis makukuha ng shareholders yung investment nila. So, ito, checking lang naman to kung mabilis, kung gaano kadami yung mga assets nila na pwedeng ma-convert agad into cash. So, test of debt service. Ayan, syempre, ability ng isang company, no, to meet their obligations to the third party. For example, pagbabayad ng utang, ganun. Test of probability, yan, show the operational performance and efficiency of the project. No, kung gaano ba, kumbaga yung test of probability, kumbaga, if ano ba siya, kumbaga pwede na siyang gawin or pwede siyang i-implement, ayan, kung gaano siya ka-realistic, I think, gano'n. So, test of total debt coverage, parang connected din to siya sa debt service. Yan. Basta kung gaano yung asset natin, kaya ba niyang i-cover lahat ng liabilities natin or ng utang natin. Funds flow analysis employed to determine the major uses and sources of funds. So meaning, kung gaano tayo ka-effective in using our resources. For example, nakita natin sa financial statement, malaki yung cash. Would that indicate na maganda yung performance ng company? So, we need to check, no? Kasi pangit din naman na sobrang laki ng cash, meaning hindi umiikot yung pera. Natutulog yung pera kasi sobrang laki ng cash ng isang company. Dapat umiikot yung pera na yun. Okay? Next is test of operating leverages. Indicate how the projects employ asset for which it pays a fixed cost. Financial leverage. Yan, about funding naman to, no? And then capital investment. About investment din naman to. Okay. Yan. So we have the following controls. First, parang quality control. Production control, parang quantity control lang naman din to, no? Kung gaano kadami yung kaya nating i-produce. And dapat may quality din naman to. Inventory control on how we manage our warehouse. Ayan, na-check ba or na-audit ba every day kung ilan yung inventory na natitira? Ayan. And then economic order quantity, most economic level of inventory. So during the inventory control, we will see kung swak ba Or tama lang ba yung numbers ng inventory na natira? Okay? Kasi kung sobrang dami, ibig sabihin nun, hindi tayo nakabenta. Kapag sobrang unti naman, pangit din yun kasi paano na yung magiging next operation natin? Baka kulangin tayo ng ibibenta. Okay? So, maintenance of inventory. Same with the inventory control din on how we organize our inventory. Alphabetical ba siya? Depende sa function, number, ayan, sign or combination. Okay? Control report. This is for feedback of information. Okay, so do you have any question regarding the control and updates? I mean control, yan, controlling. Okay, so if there's none, you can now take your break and let's go back by I think 2:10 p.m. Okay, so thank you.